now.
Oh,
So, okay, Donna has her hand raised. Hi, Donna.
Hello. Quick question. It's very basic, but I'm just curious what your answers are. If you reach out to someone and they say, follow up in 3 months, just random date, would you actually follow up with them at, like, start following up at 2 months or 2.5? I'm just kind of curious.
That's a Dylan question. Or Joey.
yeah, I mean,
It all
if they
depends
tell
on
me-
the scenario.
You gotta turn that down. If they tell me to follow up in 3 months, I mean, it all depends, right? I'll usually call them before 3 months hits. I'll usually wait like a month. So
Month.
if they tell
Okay.
me, call me back in a year, I'll call them back in 4 months. Call me back in like 6 months, I'll just split it in half usually what I do, because they're just saying that, because I don't know, whatever reason they want to get off the phone or they got to talk to somebody. Because things might change, in 2 days. So I wouldn't wait however long they tell you. I would
Right.
do a little bit earlier.
About half. Okay, cool. Thanks.
I
Yeah.
agree with that, like half, like Cody actually talked to us like a lot about that. I think like that the mastermind, it's like you always want to cut it like in half too. So yeah, you're right. So if it's like 6 months, do 3 months. So
Yeah, and I would say it's situational, right? Like if it's a hot lead and they said call us back in 6 months when all we've exhausted all of our options, then yeah, like maybe 2 months. But if it's not the best lead and they actually have like something happening in 6 months, then yeah, calling them back in 6 months is probably fine. So all situational, I would say. Cool. Well, thank you guys for showing up. Yeah, today is just our normal Q&A. So Tuesdays we do just a general Q&A. So if you guys have any questions about creative finance in general, wholesaling, paperwork, contracts, underwriting, comping, we do it all here. So we can help you guys with any questions. As long as we, kind of know the answers to them. So,
Do you want me to
but
put
yeah,
the poll?
yeah. No, the poll, maybe put a poll for next week, see what everybody wants to do next week. It's usually underwriting. Everybody wants to see underwriting. So let's say agent reach. So yeah, we just made a poll. If you guys want to fill out the poll for what you'd like to see on Friday, usually again, Tuesdays are more Q&A. Fridays we tackle one topic and go into detail about that. Usually everybody wants to see underwriting, so I'm guessing that's what we'll see. So try to underwrite some creative finance deals. So Joel says no equity deals I'm finding. How do we take care of objections and commissions? Most important skills when talking to agents. Yeah, Joel, I mean, if you want to raise your hand, we can go over kind of some of the common objections you get. Oh, I just clicked out. And maybe do some role play if you want. So let's see. Stevie, you have a question?
wait, hold on. Can I say something really quick, Dylan?
Sure.
Just because I can't stay on this whole like Zoom today. So 2 things. I just posted in the chat our new lead form link that goes directly into our CRM. So that's the new link. I will update that also on our Facebook group, but that's the new link. Like if you have a normal like lead that you want to send to us, look over JV with us, that's what you fill out. And then also from last week, I know the poll doesn't have wholesaling. So if you want to go over kind of a general overview of like wholesaling, put that in like the chat. Because if you guys don't, then that's fine. Do the survey, but that's not one of the options. But I know there was a bunch of questions last Friday on that I was answering. So
Love it.
that's
Love
the
it.
2 updates. Thanks. Thank you.
Right on. All right, Stevie, what do you got?
Hey y'all, how's it going?
Good to see you.
Yes, good to see y'all. Okay, so it was great nuggets that you did on the Zoom for the underwriting on the seller finance and the other one. Can we do a how you do the cash offer and how you are determining Because I know that in the LOI that you did with, I can't remember his name, you took that out because there was like no need to do the cash offer. When I submit offers, sometimes I do cash offer as well as a creative. And obviously my creatives were like all over the place. So like I've been underwriting everything since the Zoom. So it's beautiful. So I want to know, do we do both? And can we do a cash offer? How do you come up with that? Because I am in Phoenix. I know that in certain markets, they're buying at different percentages. Do we buy for cash offers? Are we calculating, I'm so tired of hearing 70% minus repairs. It's not like that in every market.
Right.
So I kind of want to get some feedback on that. If we can kind of go over that, that would be great.
Yeah, for sure. We can go into, and we've done tons of Zooms on this, more in depth, like instead of the 70% minus repairs, like what are all the expenses you might run into in a flip? Find your ARV, subtract all those expenses, and boom, you have your max allowable offer. So we definitely can go into that. I would say you're right. Like I do think the 70% rule minus repairs, and for everybody that doesn't know what Stevie's talking about, like just a quick way to get a cash offer on a property that might need repairs is going to be, find that the ARV, right? So pull comps, right? If your ARV is 500,000, you multiply that 500K by 70%. Sometimes it's 65, sometimes it's 60%. And then you subtract your repairs from then on. So that will give you your max allowable offer. So you really only need to know two things: your after repair value and what your estimated repair costs are. So we can definitely go into that. I think I just want to see if anybody has a ton of other questions first, Stevie.
Sure.
And then if there's a little bit of downtime, we can definitely underwrite a cash deal.
Absolutely.
Okay, love it. So let's see. And then too, I just want to shout out everybody. We have 55 people in here. Love to see that on a Tuesday. We usually have a ton more people in our Friday Zoom. So it's good to see this many people on here. Definitely a lot of new faces. Maybe if you guys, if this is your first time in here, maybe you put a 1 in the chat if you've never been in our Zooms before. Just love to see that. But I do see some familiar faces. So obviously I see Stevie. Where'd she go? I see Stevie, I see Sessing has been in here. I'm sure I'm going to forget some other people too, but I see Carmen, Pansy, my boy Jason's in here. What's up, Jason? Jennifer Brown, my boy Austin's in here. Look at all those ones. That's a lot of ones. And then, just maybe interested in how you guys heard about us too. Enrique's always in our Zooms. So really appreciate you guys showing up. It's really exciting to see you guys. Joel Jurgel, right on. Thank you guys so much. I'm sure there's a ton of other people that show up every week, but I'm missing them. So anyone else have any questions, please raise your hand. Donna, you have another question?
I put it in the chat. One of my struggles, even before I got into investing, is figuring out the cost of repairs.
Okay.
I pull from a lot of different resources, but I'm never sure how accurate, even, ballparking it, that I am. Sure.
And obviously it's tough, like I'm sure most of us don't have construction background or any experience renovating homes, right? Some people definitely do, but why don't we just do that? Like, let's look at a cash deal. Stevie, do you have one by chance? If not, I could probably find one.
I have deals that I've put cash offers on. I'm not sure if they're really cash deals. So
sure, no worries. Let's try to find one in Florida. Let's look in Orlando.
Do Ocala.
Ocala? Oh, is that
That's Tim.
Tim, hey, what's up, man? Good to see you in here.
Okay.
I like that. Let's look at Ocala, Florida. Try to find a fixer-upper on market. Gosh, Zillow would stop lagging. Do Naples. Yeah, let's do Ocala. I like Ocala. Okay, so I'm gonna try to find for sale. And I'm going to try to find, let's see. I'm gonna reset my filters. Geez, it's laggy. Okay, we just want homes. And I'm going to sort by days on Zillow. I want maybe like 90 days. $90. Let's see, parking.
Are you recording all this, Dylan?
This is all recorded. Yep. So this will go to Angie's YouTube channel. And then I'm going to sort by the newest and go to like the last page. I'm sure we'll find some properties that need work. Or at least page 7. And if not, we can just pick a random one and pretend it needs repairs. Okay, so here's one. I like this one, kind of beat up. Okay, so a foreclosure built in 1987, 1,300 square feet. Okay, yeah, obviously needs repairs, right? You see a big old hole in the ceiling. That's probably water damage. It looks like they were smokers. So this is a good property that needs some work. So one of the best resources for you guys to estimate repair costs is going to be on our Facebook group, Herd of Profits. So make sure all of you guys are a part of this. It's going super slow. So if you come over to files, we have this document. Please load. We have this document called Estimating Repair Costs. It's a PDF. So I would say all of you guys should come in and download that. That is probably one of the best estimating repair cost documents I have ever seen. And I have it somewhere, estimating repair costs. So this is pretty in depth. You know, it talks a lot about, okay, like you have gut jobs, destroyed properties, tear downs, light, lipstick, basic, just, you know, destroyed, landscape, additions, add up the renovation, 6-month hold time, $125 a square foot for new construction. That's a general, it could be more. So make sure you guys all check this out and read this. So let's first figure out what our after repair value is going to be on this property. And the first website I like to use is Zillow. So, okay, Gary, no worries. Yeah, I mean, I'll keep that in mind. I'll call on you after we run through this real quick. So, 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,300 square feet. I'm going to see what's recently sold in this area. I might have to go back to it. I don't know exactly where that home was. Oh no, I lost it. Did anybody write that address down by chance? Nope. Let's see. Let me
5842 Northwest 17th.
5842 Northwest 17th
Street.
Right on, Dom. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. So I just wanted to zoom in on the, you know, the area this property is actually in. So somewhere in this area, yep, 153,000. So right here, we actually have an agent in the area in the chat, so maybe he can provide some help with this. But yeah, I'm just gonna look at Zillow. I'm gonna look at what's sold. Again, 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,300 square feet is what I'm looking for. So first place I'm gonna look is in this neighborhood. Try to stick as close to the comp as you possibly can. I wouldn't recommend crossing any major highways like these up here, Highway 27, and Highway 40. So, right, I see some 195s. Here's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,700 square feet. You know, you can also come over here and limit your square footage. So I can hit 1,500 and 1,250, maybe even 1,000, and hit apply. Okay, so they were listed for 150, I believe. Such a
Yeah,
bad memory.
152.
152. Okay, so 152, 950. What do you think, Tim? Are they overpriced?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
that area for comps, you got to stick to that little rectangle because above that
Yep.
is a senior community and on the other
Right.
side is a bunch of farms. Not really much comp that you go outside of this area. I mean, that really,
Sure.
that rectangle is all you can work with.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see, 165, a little bit smaller. And what I actually, another important thing when you guys are comping, you're sold in the last, right? So when the market shifted, we were not looking at properties that had sold longer than 30 days because obviously from June to August was a completely different story. So, but I think the market has sort of settled out for the last 90 days. You probably are safe looking at comps that have sold in the last 90 days, right? So, and then this is a newer development, it looks like. So yeah, we really want to stick to this neighborhood.
Yeah,
So here's
that's a gated community up there.
Okay.
Ocala Palms, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Good to know. So right, like here's a property sold for 145. Again, a little bit smaller, 200K, very similar. So we'll probably look at that one as a comp, 195, 197, 245. So I want to look, and then this one down here, 330, might be a little bit different, but let's look at these. So sold in March. Nice looking home. We can look at more pictures most likely on Privy, but I'm just trying to get a feel for it, right? So 245 is definitely the highest I see. And then this one for 200. Again, like nice landscaping. It looks nice on the outside at least. So, okay. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe 200, you might be able to get 220 based on your level of renovation. So let's look at it on Privy. Most of you guys should have Privy. Privy is a paid software, but it's amazing for comping properties. Make sure I'm not missing anything. So let's take a look at this one. Why does it keep doing that, man? Okay, copy. Okay, so now to find the comps, you can click on this, scroll down and hit comparables, and it will show you some similar comparables, right? But again, Privy doesn't know that this is a gated community. So these two sold comps at 197, 199. Those are the only ones I would pull from there. But I'm gonna.
There's another thing, Dylan, like this neighborhood, I know it very well. Some of the roads aren't paved. So how would you?
Gotcha.
Yeah, outside of doing like a Google Street View, I mean, I would recommend, especially with this subdivision, Ocala Ridge.
Yeah.
It's all over the place with different neighbors, as it were. You know, not all neighbors are the same.
Sure. And that's another great tip as well too, is to really like drive the neighborhood too.
Are there some cases where they have a septic and wells as well, not public utilities?
Yeah, in this area, definitely.
Okay, so yeah, you can see a little bit more, unpaved roads. So definitely a little bit, you know, I don't know if this is every fix and flipper's desired location. But regardless, just an example. So, okay, so yeah, I'm seeing some 199s, right? So let's assume our after repair value is 200,000. I think that would be pretty safe. Someone's in trouble. Let's see.
I can already tell you it's not a flip.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to flip in this area, but we'll just use this as an example. I don't know, Angie, can you make sure everybody's muted? I think someone is accidentally unmuted. Okay, so let's look at this. Here's a dispo checklist if you guys want that. Okay, so gonna zoom in here. So let's say our ARV, I'll make this bigger for you guys. Our ARV, right, is 200,000, right? So for the quick method, right, we would multiply this times 0.7, okay, and then subtract our repairs. And then we'll do the long form of it. 200,000 times 0.7 equals 140,000. So, right, I mean, we can already tell that I personally think from a fix and flip standpoint, this property is overpriced, right? Like an investor is going to need to pick this up way cheaper than what they have it listed for. So now looking back at the home, right? So what we need to determine, okay, is this property destroyed? Where did my... I want to find my estimating. So what we need to determine is what type of level of renovation. So is this a gut job? Is this destroyed? Is it just basic or lipstick, right? So looking at the pictures, might need a new roof, definitely is gonna need some landscape, maybe some paint.
Hey, Dil, it says in
Yeah.
the overview that it got a new roof this year.
Oh, it did? Okay, good.
Yep.
But we obviously have some type of major water damage here. Right.
It needs a
it's
full
probably-
reno.
It needs a full reno. Yeah. Kitchen's probably pretty destroyed. So let's say, right, like you also want to take into consideration what type of properties are nearby, right? So if there's a ton of recently remodeled homes for sale, you have to be competitive and fully remodel this. So I think that it keeps going. That this property, I wouldn't say is a gut job, or I wouldn't say it's destroyed. Destroyed means everything needs to be repaired. So electrical, plumbing, framing, floorboards, you'll have to open up walls to repair them. It actually might be pretty close to that. It's definitely not a tear down. I think there's, you're pretty safe. Again, like just as looking at pictures, right? But I would say it's definitely more than basic, right? It needs a new kitchen, new bathroom, carpet, paint, floors, surface renovations. So this says not removing walls, not replacing drywall, no new roof, no new AC. So I would say we're in between gut job and maybe basic. So it's $40 to $60 a square foot. So again, this thing is $13.55. So let's assume it's in between, right? Like $50 a square foot. So $50 times $13.55 is $67,750. $67,750 equals $72,250. So if you guys want to just crank out offers, which I think is fine, like when you're sending out LOIs and you primarily want a creative finance, I would say submit a cash offer with just this basic calculation, 0.7 minus 67 or minus your repairs. And it's not always 0.7. It definitely does depend on the market. I think for a market where the average home price is $250, you're probably pretty safe at 0.7. When you're in Denver or Arizona or maybe, Southern Florida and home prices are average 500,000-600,000, you're probably going to be closer to 65, maybe even 60%, and then subtract repairs.
Plus buy hold.
Taylor asked, do you add a 15K buffer? You definitely can. But I think here's where we're going to get more in depth. So,
Dylan, how did you get the 67 again? I'm sorry, I must have lost you there.
no worries. Yeah. So by looking at the estimating repair cost sheet, right? I think this property is in between a basic renovation and a gut job. So
Okay,
the gut job being $60 a square foot and the basic being 40.
right.
I think we probably could get this done for maybe $50 a square foot.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course, yeah, and then multiply that by your square footage. So ARV of right 200,000. Okay, and now we are going to start subtracting our costs, right? So first one we know already is going to be our repair cost. 67, I'm just gonna call it 67,000. Now let's say closing costs, right? So if you sell this property for $200,000, right? Most savvy investors are going to have some type of agent on their team that's going to list it, hopefully for a discount, you know, and maybe relationships with title companies where they're not going to pay a ton in closing costs. I would say most investors can probably keep their closing costs to 8%, maybe even a little bit lower. But the calculation for that is 200,000 times 0.08. Okay. So that's agent commissions and additional, you know, title policy closing costs. So $16,000. Okay. Holding costs is a big one. A lot of people forget. So PACE always talks about this. If you have, you know, any type of renovation, right, you can estimate about, you're going to spend $1,000 a day. So if we have a $67,000 renovation, you can expect it to take maybe 67 days. Now, obviously, if you can pick this up creatively where they sell or finance it to you, your holding costs will be cheaper. If you get a hard money lender, it might be a lot more, right? So there's ways to figure out, you know, if you borrow, right, let's say 70,000 plus another 67 in construction costs, right, that's give or take $130,000. We can plug that into an amortization calculator. So 130 amortized over 30 years. Let's say a hard money lender wants 15%, and that's going to be interest only. So 19,483 divided by 12, that's $1,623 a month. Okay, and we already know it's going to be close to 2.5 months. So let's just say 3 months. So that totals 4,870. You're also going to have to pay taxes. That could all be prorated, but you also have insurance, right? So let's just call it $5,000 for holding costs. Right? Most of us are in here to learn wholesaling so we can make an assignment fee, right? Our wholesale fee that we shoot for is always $15,000. So again, another cost associated, if you wholesale this to a buyer, they have to pay your $15,000 assignment fee.
Before you go any further, Dylan, I need to go back over how you figured out the closing cost. You said it's 0.8?
It's going to be around 8% of your overall purchase price or selling price.
8%.
Yep. Because if you think about it, right, 6% pretty much, you know, most average as agents list for 6%. So right off the top, you're spending 6% in commissions. For a seller, it's pretty average to spend another 2, sometimes up to 4% in closing costs, title policies. But I think most investors should be able to limit their additional closing costs by another 2%. So I think 8% total is a pretty safe guess.
Okay. And the closing cost you have in there, you're including what in there?
That's agent commissions.
Okay.
Agent commission, title policy. And then
The true closing cost, right?
yeah, other miscellaneous
Right.
closing fees.
Okay.
And this
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. This calculation is 200,000 times 0.08. That's how I figured that. Okay. And then repair cost, the calculation for this was whatever 1,300 square feet times $50. Holding costs were 3 months. assignment fee. That one's pretty standard, right? That's how much we're shooting to make. And then there's something else I am definitely forgetting. So repair costs, closing costs, commissions, title policy, holding costs, assignment fee. You could throw in a buffer here on a smaller property like this. I think you're pretty safe with maybe $10,000.
You have your sales tax and transfer tax and that kind of stuff.
Right. Another thing too. Okay, what I'm
Title and, oh no, you have title, sorry.
yeah. Well, a thing I'm 100% forgetting is investor profit, right? Our flipper wants to make some money on this. So I think for the average fix and flipper, they're shooting to make anywhere from 15 to 20%. It all depends, right? Some are okay with flat fees, like, hey, if I can make, 30K and on a flip that takes me 3 months, they're happy. But I think most shoot for 15 to 20%. So 20% of 200,000 would be $40,000. So that's 20% of purchase price. Okay. So we are going to subtract all of these. So 200,000 minus 67,000 minus 16,000 minus 5,000 for holding costs minus our $15,000 assignment fee minus a $10,000 buffer minus a $40,000 investor profit. So we actually got a max allowable offer of $47,000, right? Now we did buffer $10,000 for, mishap. So it could be 57, right? Maybe a flipper's okay with making 30. So now we're up to 67. The rest of these are pretty standard, right? So like, and then again, like maybe we limit our wholesale fee to 10,000, right? So we're pretty close to this $72,000 number. But that's the gist of basically, how you get a max allowable offer for a fix and flip. iPhone says, sorry, what's the buffer? Just in case, right? Like things go wrong. Maybe we think, we get in there, we do our inspection, we think, sewer is fine, but maybe we need a whole new sewer. Or if it's on septic, maybe we need a new septic tank. So things go wrong when you fix properties up. So just a $10,000 buffer. Jason asked, how do we come up with holding costs? Yeah, Jason. So, I figured, okay, if our, we assumed our purchase price was 70,000, right? And then we're going to need to borrow another 67,000 for, the construction. So give or take, right? You're going to need $130,000 to $140,000 from a hard money lender. Most hard money lenders, they all vary. It depends a lot on your experience and your relationship with them. But I just assumed 15% interest only. So I divided this $19,000 number. That's what you pay in interest that first year, divided by 12. And we planned this as a 3-month flip. So whatever that monthly cost was, I multiplied it by 3. Gotcha. Cool. Okay. Let's see. Desired profit for the flipper. Yep. What up, Chris? Good to see you, man. Okay. So yeah. Does that give you a little bit better idea of how to, more so accurately find a max allowable offer on a cash deal? At least it's ballpark, right? I mean, obviously I've personally never done a flip. I know Angie and Dom have done flips, but always get outside opinions. So Danielle asked the key question though, what's the chance they will go down from 150,000 to 47? Very, very unlikely, right? We have wholesale properties on market where we've picked them up for 50% of what they were asking. It's definitely possible. I think it's going to be a unique scenario though, right? Because if they're listed with an agent and they don't owe anything, the smart thing would be to just keep price dropping by $5,000 or $10,000 until you get an offer. That's why finding distressed properties from distressed sellers off market is going to be your best bet. That's why we like Creative, because sellers don't necessarily need to be distressed to sell us their property subject to. So Yeah. Question, can you get any type of property sub to? Yeah, you can pick up an umbrella loan. So maybe 40 properties that are all under one loan subject to. You can buy multifamily subject, you can buy cars subject to. So yep, even multifamily. Yep. Cool, love it. I'm gonna move on to the next one. Kim, what is your question? My voice is going already. Kim Lewis. Kim. We'll come back to her. Renee, you got a question?
I do. I was just kind of curious if you would have time to look over the deal that I had sent over. So it's essentially a property that there's a lot of it's on 72 acres, so it's a remote property, but in thinking of potentially doing a something like a not really a sober living home, because there's not a lot of jobs in that particular area. There could be, but I think something like like a treatment center for teens, or like a like an eating disorder type clinic, something of that sort. So I don't know
Yeah.
what kind of light you can shed on it.
Yeah, so we can, Donda says elderly as well, so maybe some type of retirement home is a possibility. We can, do you want to share the address or do you not want to? Totally fine if you don't want to.
Can I just give you like the kind of like the details and we can kind of walk through it that way?
Do it, yeah.
So essentially they're asking 1.8 million for it.
Okay.
The seller is interested in a creative offer. And we just kind of had like some like Sarah and I took a look at it today, and we were just trying to figure out like some questions that if we had a chance to talk to you about it, what kind of questions we might have to be able to answer. Yeah, and it's funny. Oh, I'm pulling them up right now.
Renee,
So-
what did you say the dispo was?
The what?
What did you say you were gonna dispo it for? Like, what are you gonna sell it as? What type of?
Yeah, so some type of a treatment center, like maybe for teens, or I know there's also elderly. It's a beautiful property. It was built by an Amish guy who built it for his family, and it has like 8 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. And it's in a really beautiful part of Colorado. And it, like I said, it is remote.
Yeah, so that might be a problem for the elderly with hospitals and such.
That's true for transportation wise.
We just got to see what's around there as far as services, and then that would decide what the better dispo is.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I'm not really sure what kind of information you need. I mean, like we were trying to figure out today, like I think that the price is a little too high. Just because we were looking at how much like an acre of land would cost, and kind of calculating how much that was.
Is there a home or what's on the land?
Yeah, here it's probably easier if I just give you the address.
Do you want to just DM it to me and I could look at it without bringing it up?
Yeah, did you get my email that had it all on there from yesterday? Here, I'll send you the Zillow link. Trying to navigate through all these things.
No worries.
Renee, this is Sarah. I'm on now if you need anything from me.
Okay. Dylan, I'll send it through the chat here.
Okay, so oh yeah.
So
nice house.
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, no, it's a nice house at least.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, they did a really good job fixing it up, and And so like there's enough room on the land to actually have like a horse therapy section. You know, like there's a barn with 5 stalls in it. There's living quarters above the barn. So even people who work there would be able to actually stay there. So one of the things is that, you know, obviously if we were to put this under contract, we would kind of need to have an end buyer, you know, somebody who knows about running these types of facilities, who would be able to actually, you know, run it and potentially, like, you know, if we did today, Sarah and I were talking about just, you know, offering, you know, literally like we would just rent it out to somebody or lease it out to the company who's going to run it. And then based on our calculations, we feel like it would cash flow pretty well. But we were kind of looking at if we did it at 1.5, is that what we were calculating, Sarah?
Yeah, we had run numbers for 1.5 and for 1.75.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, Donna has a ton of great ideas. How much land can you use? Wedding venues, there definitely is. I mean, I see a potential there for, a wedding venue, possibly tiny homes. The tough thing is location, right? Like, obviously, that's the number one thing in real estate. I'm not too familiar with the area, but it is very remote, right? So, like, what's attracting people to that location? Obviously, you know, probably fishing and camping and all that good stuff. But is that enough to sustain a business, right? So, and you are right that the strategy there is to just lease the home to the operator, whatever business he's going to run, and let him run the business and just pay you rent. That way, you're just in the business of owning real estate. You're not starting a new venture, basically.
Yeah, and that's what we're kind of neither one, you know, none of us really want to run it day to day, but so the one thing about tiny homes or yurts, there is a restriction in the HOA. It is a covenant. So you wouldn't be able to do that inside of that. But you could actually subdivide the property because it is 72 acres. You could cut it in half and use the other half to do whatever you want to do on that property. So those are just, you know, Donda, those are some good ideas as far as, you know, just ways to run it. But obviously, like, you know, this would be my first deal. So it's hard for me to say, you know, what would work and, you know, where am I going to find those providers? Like, I don't know if anybody has any ideas on that as far as finding people to lease it out.
Yeah.
And I think Dylan, kind of what you were saying, Renee and I were talking about, you know, that it would be very high holding costs and a lot of, you know, liability for us. It's better to just kind of find a business to take it over and pay us a monthly rent and to have a fixed contract, which is why, you know, we were thinking about this, any sort of like treatment center or group home. Because yeah, you can't split the lot into more than 2 lots. I'm just looking at some of the questions here. You can't split it into more than 2 lots, and there are covenant restrictions on what you can do in there. But Renee and I haven't seen any restrictions on treatment centers, rehab centers, for that, and so we kind of felt like it could be a good fit for that.
Yeah, I would say. So looking at it, I would say maybe a grower, that's a possibility. It looks like they have some type of greenhouse, obviously tons of land. You know, so someone who
What's the water rights like?
That's a good question.
It's a good question, but something to look out. How would I find that out?
The agent should know.
Okay.
Yep. The agent will know if there's water rights, which is probably on a well. So water might be your problem when you're dividing this property up. It's a tough property. I personally wouldn't go under contract and try to find a buyer unless I had a specific person already in mind that likes this stuff and they had a specific use. It just seems like a really unique property. And it's in the middle of nowhere and it snows, it snows a lot there.
Yeah, it does in the winter for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have friends that live there around it.
I would
Do
agree.
any of you guys know any operators or know someone? I know that they just started a group. Renee pointed that out for sober living in Discord. But is there anybody on here that has any contacts? You know, just to kind of reach out, just see if there's any interest. I mean, it is very remote, Dom, as you said, it's very remote, but you know, it's a beautiful place and would be a great place, you know, to do therapy because it has the equestrian, you know, the equine therapy and other, you know, even like quarters for operators to live in over the barn.
I wonder where the closest small airport is at. So, I mean, this is just kind of thinking way outside the box. This could be like a luxury sober living for like celebrities and such. Because
Yeah,
it's
that's
remote,
true.
away from everybody, but they would need some transportation in. I'd have to look at the closest airport that they could get into, because they obviously would not want to drive.
I think there's actually a airport there, to be honest. It's a very small one, but you know, I think private planes could probably be in there.
You could look and see if there's any, my suggestion was along the lines of the therapy. So like if there was a children's hospital close by somewhere, and just reach out to them and see if they know of any places like that. And, you know, if they say no, then you could pitch, you know, the clients that y'all are working with. Does that sound like something that they would be interested in? And repeat that same process with the other ideas that you have. Like if you're thinking, the sober living, you know, you could go to some rehab facilities in the area, hospital end, or what was the other one? I forget what the other suggestions were, the equine. So start at the top end where they start their services and see if there's an in facility that they refer out to. And if they don't, there you go.
Okay.
Renee, when we called some sober living places, they definitely don't want to be remote because a lot of them have to try to go to work and they need to be able to catch a bus, go get groceries and all that type of stuff. So yeah, you're gonna have to find a specialty type of thing, like you said, like maybe somebody, I know in Yakima, Washington, they have an equestrian facility where kids go there for therapy and stuff. So that might be more something you might be looking for.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
My
Just
personal opinion, it sounds like a lot of time that you're going to spend on it when you could find, you know, 10 other properties that are 3,000 square foot.
Dominic, if they want to reach out to me, they can reach out to me if they're interested in doing sober living. I'm sorry, I just kind of caught the tail end of it.
okay, Jennifer, will you put your number in the
Yes.
chat for us?
Jennifer, would you do sober living in that house?
Well, I didn't see it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to see our sober living? I'm here now. I can turn on my camera.
I'm going to answer it for you. I don't think you do it there because it's the house is huge. It's in a remote area. There's no access really around there. It's way too big for what, you know, we like.
Oh, yeah, you at least have to be a 50 plus on the transfer.
Population.
Yeah, on the transport, like on Zillow, when you look on Zillow, you have to have like a 50 plus score on it. You have to be like maybe a block away from a bus stop or make a partnership, you know, with donations with Uber cards or something like that, or have a house manager that has a vehicle that can take, you know, your tenants to and from type of
Mhm.
thing. You
For
know,
their jobs, you need it
Yeah.
so they can access their job, unless you made it like a whole sober living ranch, right? But then,
Yeah,
you know, that would take
absolutely.
somebody's master plan and a lot of money and make it like a whole upscale ranch where they actually do jobs on the ranch, take care of horses, whatever the therapy may be.
Absolutely. You know, that would actually be, you know, and not a lot of people like to talk about it because not a lot of people like to house SOs, sex offenders. But if you have like property out there, like out, you know, kind of in the middle of nowhere, right? I mean, there's a lot of funding for it because not a lot of people want to do it. And I've come
Right.
across that as I'm marketing.
Yeah, and I actually have a connection to somebody who owns a business that does that, so I could talk to him as well.
Nice. I think we
I
should
think you could
connect.
spend more
Ladies.
time somewhere else, Renee, though. I really do.
Okay,
I think a
That's
lot
good
and
advice.
get stuff going a lot quicker. I think keep that on the back burner, right? But, and look for somebody that could, you know, wants a place like that, that could do some sort of sober living or whatever out there that wants that unique situation. But we could go
Right.
find, you know, 10 other places that are 2,500, 3,000 square foot homes that already fit the bill.
And a,
Right.
a little smaller number, maybe. That number is a little daunting when you look at 1.85 million, you know, that they're asking for. So it's a big number.
It's a
But
beautiful
gonna-
place.
Sorry. I'm gonna put also our website in the site chat. It's called graceprosperhousing.org. And we're a foundation. We just recently launched Grace Prosper Housing Foundation. And we're gonna be a charitable organization. So we're registered. I'm halfway through the registry right now with the nonprofit 501c3. And so we will be able to get like the same type of grants like Salvation Army gets. Your Catholic charities, you know, all the 501c3s and stuff like that. Those are the type of grants we'll be going after. So we'll be able to like fund our own properties and our tenants. And then, and not only that, I have my own business as well. And I'm registered with SAM, so we're able to also employ our tenants.
Love it.
That's cool. Well, we'll definitely reach out to you. Sarah, did you have any other, I know we had a few questions, but were they all answered that you know of?
Yeah, I don't know if, and this would just be for general, not specific to this property, but how you structure equity positions. If Renee, I don't know if you asked this question. I didn't.
No, I didn't.
How you structure equity positions? Like if we had a cash partner come in, I'm
Yeah.
just curious everybody's opinion on
And we put the
like
boxes in the back.
the down payment, be it 5% or 10% of the entry fee. You know, what your thoughts on what an equity position, a fair equity position could be for that cash partner?
Yeah, I mean, really good question. It's going to really vary. It depends. Like if that cash partner wants nothing to do with the business at all, they just want to give you their money and make passive money on it, then maybe 50 or 49%, and you guys split the rest. If they want to be an equity partner and an active member of the partnership, then, you know, maybe 75%. So it kind of all depends. That's really comes down to like an individual level. But I would say, right, like if you guys are going to structure it, find the deals, find the dispo, right, like the manager, take care of all the financing and all the maintenance and all the headache that comes with managing a property like this, and that other person does not, the equity partner doesn't do anything, then I think like 50-50 is pretty fair. But it's up to that person at the end of the day, right? Like
What we do is we own the property and find an operator. And the operator takes all their money and we just negotiate a rent number. That way their business is their business. They know how to run it. That's the way we do it. We try not to mix, the two businesses, but it's up to you.
So Dom, this was more as if like before we even get to that step, this would be like the cash partner to actually take down the deal. So let's say we need if it's 5%, down payment, we would need somebody to bring $75,000 in cash for us to actually purchase it. Not talking about the actual operator of the group home. This would be like our cash
Just pay him as a
partner.
private money lender, hard money in a private money lender and keep the property. And if you don't want to do that, then you need to give up ownership of the property and negotiate it that way. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like a lot of people, I mean, I feel like my experience with my private money lenders is that they get to the point where they think, man, Sarah's making a lot of money off of this. And they start to want like a portion of the equity in deals. That's kind of been my experience. They do like, let's say up to 10 deals where they'll lend on just lend the cash at 10%. And then they're like, hey man, maybe I'd like to have like 5% of the equity of this project. Let's lower the interest, but they start wanting equity. And so that's kind of what, this would be different because this would be a long-term hold. And so I think kind of along what Dylan was saying, like they probably are going to want like certainly double digit equity in the property if it's a long-term hold and they want,
It's all
75,000.
the way you negotiate, right? Maybe they just want to say they own a property.
Mhm.
Because they're getting fancy, but so it just depends on that lender and every deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pace sponsored our loan for our sober living. He sponsored the loan, so he just used his credentials. And his terms for that were 30%. He's a 30% equity partner until we pay that loan off. So that's a possibility there as well. But yeah, it's all, on an individual basis. It really all just depends on what that equity person is willing to give you that money, because they have all the power, right? I mean, not all of the power. You can find other equity partners, but if that's your only person, then 50-50. But I would say, I probably would not try to go for above that. Like if they want,
But at that point,
75%.
At that point, you might want to find other private lenders if you don't want to give up that equity, right? It just depends. Or if they're a really good lender, then you want them to be as partners. But I think that would be a case by case for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Dylan, question. When you say Pace sponsored your loan, did he just use his credentials to get a loan, or can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, he has a pretty close partnership with myinvestorloan.com. So we got a non-recourse DSCR loan. They funded, I think, 80% or 70% of our purchase price. So we actually bought the home in cash. Pace sponsored the loan. And then we just got a private money lender who was also Pace to fund the down payment. So he's our PML for the down payment, and then he's our equity partner for the loan. People will do that too. People wholesale their credentials for a fee, for ownership. So, if you guys aren't financeable or you need someone with, a track record. So DSCR loans, they're non-recourse loans. They might still check your credit, but they care more about you as an investor and the actual investment itself. So if you have a lot of credentials or you're very well known, they're going to give you more loans or a better rate. So that's why having Pace on that was amazing.
So Pace banked on us. He thinks that we're special, right? That we know what we're doing. So he said, "Yeah, I'll put up my credentials for you." So it just depends on whatever relationship you have with, whoever that person is that's going to do that.
So Dylan, how did you figure out, like, once you found a sober living home, you found a property that you thought was a good idea, like, how did you calculate? Because, there's been a lot of different numbers thrown around as far as how much money you can charge for sober living or for youth services or whatever that might be. How did you figure out whether or not it was a good deal, through underwriting wise?
Yeah, good question. So it has to do a lot with purchase price, right? So we bought this home for $250,000. We picked it up at a discount. The after repair value is probably in the 4s. So
we didn't pick it up at a discount. No, I'm
right,
not even
well,
close.
it still needed repairs.
Here's how we did it. You go to an operator and you ask them, what, underwrite this property for me. Is this a good prop? We go to the person who's going to operate it first. Okay.
Absolutely.
In this case, it's Jennifer. And Jennifer says, "You know what, Dom? I need 3,000 square feet. I need at least 4 bedrooms, and I need it in these areas, and I can pay you X." And then we work backwards from there. If you go the other way around, which we kind of did in the beginning, you don't know what you could pay for the home. So you always want to find that operator first. That's the key. And then you're a lot safer when you purchase that property. Because like for a short-term rental or even a long-term rental, we didn't buy the property correct. But for a sober living, we're able to make a little bit of money off of it. So you got to find that sober living operator first. And you could do your numbers, but I would, maybe you have a formula from them, but I always get that person to tell me, what can you pay for this property monthly and still be good with your business? And I want a long-term with them. So you don't want to charge an exorbitant amount. So you want to charge enough where everybody's getting paid and everybody's making some money. But the underwriting starts with like a Jennifer.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I would say for that large 1.8. You can't underwrite it. You because you know, everybody's throwing out like, well, what about this? What about this? But you need that person to tell you, here's what this home will bring in, and then here's what I'd be willing to pay rent. And then you can underwrite and figure out, okay, here's how much we can put down, here's how much we can pay monthly, and then we know our cash on cash. But until you have that person that can say with, you know, a lot of certainty, this will bring in $10,000 a month from sober living, from wedding venues, from whatever, you know, but you need to have that person first. And that would be my advice on that property, is like, it's very large, it's pretty unique, it's out in the middle of nowhere almost. So unless you have that operator in mind and you know what that property fits for exactly, I would not waste too much more time on that one. You're better off looking for single family fix and flips or sub 2 creative deals that you can wholesale, all of that. You'll get your first deal a lot quicker, I think.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys. Everybody's feedback has been really helpful.
Cool. Love it. Yeah, good one too. I mean, I think a lot of people get excited. That's when we first started, when me and Joey first started, we were looking at $1.8 million mansions in Summit County, Colorado. We were calling these sellers directly and saying, hey, will you sell us your property on seller finance? You know, we want to put nothing down and we want a 0% interest rate. You could guess we spent 6 months not getting any deals, right? We thought the idea was to pick up all these multi-million-dollar properties and Airbnb them and make tens of thousands of dollars.
We were going to be rich in a year.
Right. It didn't work out that way.
One interesting thing that is a good takeaway for everybody on the call is that I was actually making agent outreach calls, and I was inquiring about a different property that the agent had listed. And as a follow-up, I just said, you know, do you know anybody else that might be interested in seller finance type deals? And she said, you know what, actually I do. I have this guy who, you know, built his own property and he's a really savvy business owner. So I think he might be interested. And then she texted me like the next day and said, yeah, he's definitely interested. Okay. So just goes to show that, you know, ask about other properties, not just the one that you're inquiring on.
Yeah. And I would say too, Renee, one way to approach that guy who's a savvy business owner, right? I didn't see how long it's been listed, but probably quite some time. One thing I've done in the past, only 16 days, but could have been longer. They could have refreshed it. Is say, you know, hey, I'm a savvy investor myself. I have a network of 10,000 investors that buy homes specifically on seller finance. I don't think this fits for what I'm looking for, but you know, would you give me the opportunity, maybe like a non-exclusive option to market this property, and then find out what type of terms they want. And then maybe you can wholesale it like that. We've done that in the past where we did not want to tie a property up because we were not confident in finding a buyer. So we just asked this agent, like, hey, do you mind if we market this to potential buyers? And they said, please, you know, like, we'll try to find a fee outside of your commission. So, you know, maybe seeing if they would give you a non-exclusive option to market the property to sub 2 students, because who knows, there might be someone in our group that
somebody may want a mountain property that wants 72 acres out there because it's a beautiful country out there. They may want to trade and have that money, but maybe not want to go get finance for that jumbo loan, right? But if they can get it carried, it may be their second home. I mean,
right, exactly.
Highly possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, great idea. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Renee. All right, Kim, let's go to you. Or yeah, we'll do Kim. And then forget. Oh, I don't know if she was even here. Kimberly, are you there? She had her hand raised too. 2, 1. All right, Joe.
What's up? I'm ready to rock and roll.
You're ready, man. Let's go.
Need help comping a property in Florida. I can give you the address.
Okay, let's do it.
4125 Baisden, Baisden Road in Pensacola.
Start over. 41.
No worries. I just tossed the link in the chat.
Oh, did you? Okay, 41, 45. Toss the link in there. Okay.
Baisden, Bais.
Oh, is this it?
Yep.
Okay. And so this is an auction.
Yep. Probably looking at a fix and flip. There's no pool, so they probably can't do an Airbnb. But yeah, kind of want to see what my maximum allowable offer would be.
Okay. So far, I mean, it looks like it's in pretty good condition.
Super solid. Just need some paint, maybe a bathroom or two there. Hardwood looks
Okay.
nice.
Oh yeah, like, yeah, maybe,
Kitchen looks solid.
you could update that kitchen a little bit.
Maybe
Um,
some countertops, maybe painting some
Yeah.
of the cabinets, but
Yeah. You wanna
hardwood looks
take out the-
nice.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can take out that dry or not the drywall, the whatchamacallit.
Yeah, definitely need some paint, maybe some carpet.
Yeah, yeah. But otherwise, yeah, it's in pretty good condition.
Mhm.
So like your renovation on this is gonna be pretty cheap, right? Like whatever your square footage is at, 3,400, maybe by like $15, even if that, because you're definitely not gonna have to renovate everything. Yeah, very lipstick, carpet and paint, not even everywhere too. Like, you know, I mean, it's good as is right now, you know. There's really nothing major that needs to be changed too. So yeah, I would say
What's the dispo? That tells you what your reno will be.
right. So you'd be looking at this like just to buy it and then kind of spruce it up a little bit and
Yeah,
then
maybe a
sell it
flip
back
if
on
the numbers
market.
work, maybe a hold, but definitely looking at it more so as a flip.
Okay. So let's see. So right away, your Zestimate's 598. So I obviously you never want to just like take that as, you know, into consideration, but still, you know, Zillow does have some computing, right, to figure out how they're getting that number. So it's still good to see. My guess is that this neighborhood is probably, you know, like you once you cross this body of water, you might be looking at different properties. Yeah, like this looks a little bit older, maybe not as nice. So let's look at Privy first. Oh, not even finding it. Says it's a 14 bath, huh? Let's see when it was built to. Built in 1995. Oh, can't find it in Privy. That's
Weird.
interesting.
Can we try PropStream?
Yeah, we could try PropStream. To be honest, I don't really use PropStream to comp.
That's fair.
But we can at least plug it in and see what comps it thinks. I just don't think that's like PropStream's best use is comping, but it does have, you know, comparables and nearby listings too. So, you know, you can minimize it. So date range, we don't want to see properties sold from, you know, May of 2022 because we're in a way different year. I would say probably like, to be honest, December of 2022 up to now. Maybe even early or later than that. So like just 90 days. So average sales price you can see is $459. And it's looking at these properties. So here's our subject property. I would maybe discount 6 and 7, which sold for 733 and then 500. So we're looking at 1 is a rental, so take that out. So 2, this one, let's see, it looks like it has a pool. Sold for
624.
624. Number 3,
What are they asking for that?
It's on an auction, so nothing really. I mean, like,
starting bid is 150,000.
yeah.
So, I mean, I think you're pretty safe. I would say, like, your level of renovation is going to be very minimal. Like, you might not even need to do anything if you could just pick it up at a discount and resell it.
Mhm.
Realtor.com is saying that it's estimated at 621. And then that's 49% higher or more expensive than any nearby properties that are on the market or sold according to tax records.
Yeah, and then Zillow's range is 526 up to 670. So definitely a huge range right there, over $150,000 range. So I don't think you necessarily need to. I would just assume the worst, right? Like, assume this property sells for 500,000, but
Mhm.
you would obviously need to want to buy this on auction for at least 400,000. I think.
Sure.
Give yourself that buffer. Have you looked into buying properties at auction?
The investor that I'm working with has, yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, they'll ask you for like a 10K non-refundable check there at the table. Yeah.
Not,
You
it's
gotta-
it's a whole ball of wax to do auctions, but yeah, he's been doing them for a really long time.
Love it. Okay. That's a good in though. If you can find this guy good looking properties, but yeah, I'm not my specialty. I would say my guess is you're just gonna have to pick that up probably below 400,000
Cool.
to be safe. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So Daniel says, could you tell me what you think about this property I'm currently looking at, the ARV, MOA? Figured out. I just want to hear your numbers and see how close I am. It's a preview link. I'm going for a fix and flip. Yeah, Daniel, if you feel comfortable sharing it in front of 52 people, we can do it. Donna says, I have a question about privy. A lot of my searches are coming back with a property, but referring to a third-party search, and the info was inaccurate. Yeah, Donna, I mean, privy's, I think, a newer system. It has not been around for a really long time. They do have a lot of good data, but it's just tough. Like, if you're looking in Texas, right, you're just going to have to rely on third-party data because it's a non-disclosure state. And I think maybe Tennessee might be one as well. So there's a few non-disclosure states where it's going to be tough to find comparables outside of privy. Sometimes you just have to rely on it. So Onyx Ave. Okay, so you're looking at this. What do you think your ARV is, Danny? It's hot. Yeah, Daniel, can you unmute your mic, man? Or are we here? Where are we at? Maybe not. I'm thinking 374. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it would take me a while to, like, again, like, fully underwrite this. I don't want to spend another like 20 minutes just underwriting a fix and flip. Oh, that's the wrong one. Oh, that's the wrong Johnson. But I could maybe just help you determine like what you think your renovations are. So obviously fire damaged property in Glendale, Arizona. And what do you think your max allowable offer is? Oh yeah, I mean, like this is a scrape, right? 100%. This is a scrape.
What happened to the insurance money? That's what I'd be wondering.
Yeah. So
It's
this
a
is a scrape. Yeah. So you're looking at easily $150 a square foot. Could be less, maybe 125, but I think in Glendale, Arizona, their prices are probably a little bit higher. So I think you're looking closer to like $190,000 renovation, if not more, to be honest. I mean, you're basically building a new home here. So I would look at this like you're just buying the land, plus you have to demo this whole thing, which could cost
Once you do that, Bill,
2,000.
everything changes. Once you tear down the house, everything changes. All permits, everything changes. The only thing that stays the same is the zoning. You have to start over and rebuild the house. So it's probably going to be possibly even more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely want to just look at like kind of land, tear down for sure. I mean, there's not like, what do you salvage, like the sewer could have even burned up below the house. There's nothing you can salvage.
Even the foundations, I don't know what it's made of. When it burns like that, you have to remove the foundations as well. So you might not be able to salvage anything. And then depending on the year of that home, it could have asbestos in it. So when they went, put out the fire, water went everywhere. It could have asbestos contaminated around the property. There's a lot of variables to be able to.
Yeah.
There was a contractor on another call the other day and they were talking about, and I'd never heard of this, but they were talking about when there's a fire, something about the water can go back through the pipes and everything. So even not just the foundation, but even the plumbing and everything else.
Yeah, we just had one in the whole perimeter of the home had to be dug around. It's a scrape if they wanted to fix it. And it wasn't even a scrape. Actually, they were going to let him rebuild, but the whole perimeter had to be dug out like 5 feet wide. And I don't know how many feet deep, and remove that soil, because when they put the fire out, obviously the house had asbestos in it and it got in the soil. So I think that remediation alone was like 50 to 100K he got as far as bids just to remove that.
Wow.
I don't know the year of this home, but if it's in the 50s, it has asbestos.
But yeah, I would say unless you're like a developer near, like, or 1974, what's the cutoff for that? What's the cutoff for like lead paint?
78, I think, 76.
Yeah, but yeah, I would say unless you're a developer or like really experienced with fix and flips, like, a lot of flippers are going to run from this as well. So it's not even going to be necessarily an easy wholesale if you get it at a discount, right? Like not many people are experienced enough to handle this level of renovation or even want to handle this level of renovation. So
the city or county may make them tear this down, like in the process of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. What happened to the insurance money?
So yeah, buy for land. Daniel, yeah, I'm saying I would think this is probably not, unless you're pretty experienced and you have buyers that do development or specialize in fire damaged homes, like, even experienced fix and flippers aren't going to want to touch this because like Dom said, there's a lot, you have to pull permits for everything, you have to do remediation for asbestos and all that stuff, mold. So, it's a pretty high level renovation. Your buyers for this are going to be few and far between. Stevie, we'll take your question last.
So does that mean I'm last now?
Yep. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. All right, my question is about how you were doing your comps on PropStream just then.
Mm-hmm.
So I do it just a little bit different, and I could just be off because you've obviously been doing this longer. So when you have the address in there, and it doesn't matter what address, you go to the details and then pull up the comps nearby. And if you just pull it up for me. Okay, so you see where it says comparable search over to the left?
Yep.
Do you not fill out any of the bedrooms or the bathrooms or the year built or anything? You just go straight over to the right and start looking at the comparable properties there?
You absolutely could. I to be honest, I personally don't really use PropStream to comp properties. I usually start on Zillow and then I move over to Privy. And then after that, I feel like I have a good understanding. But if it's not pulling up in Privy, it's in Texas and it's a non-disclosure state, so Zillow won't work, then I will resort to PropStream. And then, yeah, I mean, absolutely. You can, narrow your search for your square footage.
I wouldn't trust any console in PropStream, to be honest.
Okay, because that's what we do. We go to Zillow, then we go to Privy, and then, if we have to, we go to PropStream. But when we do PropStream, we do go over to the comparable search first on the left and then jump over to the right. Okay, I just wanted to kind of be on the same page and make sure. But I agree with you too, Joey, as far as the comps, because, you're not even seeing some of the same comps from Privy to PropStream because the information is lagging there. So
Yeah, PropStream, it's good for everything else besides comping, to be honest. It's the best for finding properties, seeing what they owe, seeing what it's sold for, all that. But when you use that comp filter, that comp little tool, it does not spit out the right numbers. Like I'll be looking at a property and it tells me average home sold 1.2 million in the area when I'm picking up the property for 500 grand, right? So it grabs all the information. That's why it grabs like everywhere around it. It's not tailored to one specific spot. So that's why I would stick with Privy at Zillow.
Yeah.
And if you have an
Zillow
agent
and
with
Privy
MLS
first.
access, that's the best. If you know somebody with MLS access in the state, that's the best way to come.
I happen to have that, a friend. Yeah, I do have that. And it is the best. I agree. So, okay, thank you. That's what I needed to know.
Right on. Thank you, Stevie. Could you comp this fourplex? Is seller's offer. Yeah, Cecil, I mean, we could, I'll do it real quick. Let's see, Amarillo, Texas. So Zillow is not going to work for you, right? Let's see. So check out Privy. If it's fully occupied though, and then again, multifamily is going to be a little bit tougher to comp because you're going to have less comparables, right? So let's look for some comparables. So here's one for 280, a couple sold for 280. The fourplex, they're asking 150,000 for a fourplex. I mean, it sounds like a deal. Would you be interested in this as like creative, Cecil?
Yes, he's giving me a $10,000 discount.
So he wants to sell for 140.
Yeah, he'll sell it to me for 140.
Cash or is he looking at creative?
Well, we haven't discussed that yet.
Okay. I would say so. Like for everybody in here too, like creative, price does not necessarily. It's not the most important thing when you're dealing with creative, right? Like. Cecil, you could offer this guy $1 million for this property if he'd be willing to take nothing down and $1 a month for 1,000,000 years, right?
Yeah.
That'd be a slam dunk of a deal, even though you're overpaying for the property by 10 times what it's worth. For cash.
He is an investor. He's got like 25, maybe 30 properties. He's getting rid of 10 and he's offered me a discount on those 10. Between $5,000 and $10,000 on each unit. So,
gotcha. I would say like comping this is not necessarily the most important thing. What you need to figure out is what your cash on cash percentage is going to be, because it's not a fix and flip, right? Unless you're looking at it as a fix and flip. But if you're looking at it as buy and hold, you want to just keep that thing and cash flow it.
Right.
The price.
Each apartment is rented right now for $650.
$650. Okay.
Right.
So that's what you want to underwrite more is like, okay, if I pay 140,000 for this property, am I going to make, 15% return on my money?
Right.
And then work backwards, right? I would shoot for, 10 or 12 or 15% cash on cash. After you calculate expenses and then figure out what you can offer, not based on what's recently sold, but based on what gives you your desired cash on cash return.
Now explain cash on cash, because that's something I haven't got a full grasp on yet.
Sure. It's pretty, literal, right? Like how much cash are you putting in versus how much cash are you making annually? So
Right.
I could do some quick maths. You said this thing's rented for $650 a room
Yes.
or a unit? So times
There's 4
4.
apartments, so that's $2,600 a month.
Okay. Okay, $2,600 a month. Let's figure you spend 15% in management, vacancy, capital expenditures. Could be more, but I think 15% is a pretty standard number.
Well, the advantage I have here is all 4 of the renters have been there for 7 years or more.
Okay, good. So you have good paying tenants then.
Right. That's one of the
so-
reasons why he keeps the rent so low, is he keeps it filled.
Right. Okay, so you have a $2,600 monthly gross profit.
This is the area I still haven't got a good idea, a good understanding of, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I do not know this area. Okay, so you can expect to spend 390, let's just call it 400 for simple math. Right, like you also are gonna need to figure out your taxes and insurance, right? All stuff you can easily figure out.
I can look up the taxes real quick.
Yeah. Let's just assume maybe like 400, let's assume like $500. I think they're probably gonna be pretty cheap. And then you're not gonna have debt if you buy it in cash, right? So net is going to be,
Well, I'd have to get a loan or a lender or something, because I don't have that much.
oh, gotcha. Okay, so you have to figure out what your debt is. But you basically just work backwards, right? So, let's say you put $20,000 as a down payment, right? That's what you got to figure out. Okay, if you're getting a loan, how much money do you have to put down, right? So if you get a loan for 140,000 and you have to put down 20%, that's $28,000 you have to come up with. So,
Right.
okay, so now if you want to make 15% on that money, you need to be putting $4,200 into your pocket at the end of the first year.
Okay, let's see. Taxes. Well, hell. Damn it.
So, but yes, I would say figure out like if he's open to creative financing. That's probably your best bet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but I wasn't for sure how to comp it.
Yeah. So comping's not what you need to figure out. Comping is not important, I would say, for this type of property. What is
Okay.
important is how much money is it going to cost you to get into the deal versus how much are you going to cash flow.
Right.
That's what you need to figure out. So your gross profit, your gross income is 2,600. Subtract your management, your taxes, your insurance, whatever your PITI is, your debt basically. So if he seller finances you, like run it through an amortization calculator. I just did $120,000 at 5% interest. is $644.
Well, this thing is not even in the tax roll.
You can't find the taxes.
Yeah, I'm in Potter County Tax Assessor's office on the property, and it doesn't show taxes. Or I'm missing it, one or the other. Shows everything else. Tax roll says it's appraised for 96,383. And I think the tax here is 0.0044.
Let's see if PropStream has something for us.
It says 1523 for the year 2022.
Okay, that might be why, because I got them 2023, so.
Yeah, 1523. Okay, so 1523.
$1,523.
Okay, so yeah, taxes and insurance, you're probably going to be close to, they might assess it a little bit more. Let's call it just $300.
Right.
You know, you could be a little bit more conservative, 350. Right. Debt, again, because we don't know this number, it's tough to underwrite. So that's why, like, step number one, Cecil, is figure out if they're open to creative finance.
Okay.
Is he open to holding the note, basically? So that's rule number one. And then you can do your math backwards, right? So you're making $2,600 a month, minus 400 in management, minus 350 in taxes. Subtract your debt. And then you can figure out how much you're making per month.
Yeah, see, so the first thing you do is just see if this guy even wants seller finance. Because then we're just negotiating with ourselves here with all these numbers. You know what I mean? We're coming up with numbers that don't mean anything if he doesn't even want creative finance. And if he wants cash, you probably try to wholesale it.
Right.
Because I don't think you're going to get a good loan right now.
Well, he's got, of the 10 properties he's getting rid of, 6 of them are occupied.
Yeah, so I'd just go to him like, hey, we want to buy all of them. You want to do some seller finance? See if he
Right.
owes anything on them, and then go from there. Because otherwise, you're going to underwrite for nothing because you're negotiating with yourself, right? You don't have any numbers. You don't know if he even wants it. So that'd
Right.
be the first thing. I'd call that guy up and see if he even wants creative finance. But yeah, we'll buy all of them. We'll even offer higher if you'll carry me.
Right.
And see what he says.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Right on. Thank you, Cecil. I appreciate it, man. Okay, guys. Well, we are going to call it there. I think that's all we have for you today. I think we had up to like 65 people. Poor Kim didn't get her question answered. I feel really bad for her. She must have stepped away though. But shout out you guys. Like, you know, it's tough. Real estate can seem so daunting and just that's why we call it the elephant challenge, right? Like, how do you start to eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. So, you know, kudos to you guys for taking action. I'm sure you guys all have families and jobs, right? So it's tough to also try to pursue another career in real estate on top of all of that. So kudos to you guys for showing up, asking questions, right? Doing your research, bringing deals, making calls. It's tough. So, you know, just kudos to you guys. We are here to help, right? I feel blessed that this is my full-time job. This is literally my dream job. So I'm just super grateful for you guys, one, to also, like, you know, come in here and ask questions, and give me the opportunity to, you know, at least share some of the knowledge that I know, Dom knows, Joey knows. So super grateful for you guys. Thank you so much for showing up. We have another Zoom on Friday. Let me see where the poll. Yep, underwriting, crushed it. Everybody wants to see underwriting. So maybe we can do that again on Friday. Maybe we can make some calls, find a deal, underwrite it, send an offer on Friday. So you guys can see start to finish how all of that gets done. So right on. So yeah, make sure you guys are part of our Herd of Profits Facebook group. where, you know, we post good content. We have good resources in there for you guys, so you don't go missing anything. You can ask questions. There's I think we have maybe over 500 people in the group now, so there's usually people on there answering questions. And then we also have the rest of the team in there making sure you guys don't get any questions missed. So right on. Yeah, I think that would be cool, right? See the process from start to finish, at least how we find it, call them, negotiate it, send an offer, underwrite it, all that good stuff. So I think we'll do that. But yeah, shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for showing up. Our Zoom on Friday is at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. So don't miss that. That's where we're going to go from start to finish. How we get an offer sent out, basically. So that's all I have for you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Appreciate you.
See you guys.
Good night.